Hello, and welcome to Morph Minutes, presented by Studio M Financial. Studio M Financial exists to help you change the sound of your money through financial education and coaching. I'm your host, Katrena Pitts, instructor and financial coach. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Morph Minutes. I'm Katrena Pitts, financial coach to small business owners here at Studio M Financial, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you all today about business ownership, and hopefully you recognize the face that is staring at you. This is my friend. I'm an AFC, full AFC now. I definitely want to dig into that. Bert Delgado of Vivid Financial Counselors back with us again for, I think, our third podcast, right? Our third one together.
I think so, yes.
So thank you. We are 3 for 3, and I'm super excited about this conversation. So welcome, Bert. Thank you for coming back and hanging out with me again.
Thank you, Katrena. Thanks for always having a great conversation. Love talking to you.
Absolutely. So I know we talked about this a little bit, but you said one of the questions that I did have was an update on your AFC candidacy, but it sounds like you are an AFC, no longer a candidate. So
That's right. So towards the end of the year, I knew I was going to have this project coming up, right, for work, the other place I work. And I said, I got to get this done. I'm not going to wait till next summer. And I got it all in with some help of some great people, got the hours in, got all the certification in. And yes, I'm an AFC certified counselor now. So
that's amazing. I'm super happy for you. And I literally did not know that was on my questions to ask you. And you just sort of mentioned a little bit in kind of our pre-podcast conversation. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not even know. And I'm 3 months late in congratulating you because that is quite the process, being one myself and finishing, I don't know, a couple minutes before you. That is no easy task. It is very time consuming, very intensive, requires a lot of diligence because there are multiple ways to get hours. But how you actually map that out. So you have it, you can now put the AFC with a little R behind your name, and that's
I actually do that now when I do my Zoom calls. Bert Delgado AOC with a little R.
It feels so good. I'm not gonna lie.
It feels good.
So
It
good.
feels good.
Feels good. Oh, and
Yes.
when I put this podcast up, I will do the same. Bert Delgado, Viv AFC, Vivid Financial Counselors. I will do the
Thank
exact
you.
same thing now that we are both
Thank you.
official. That's awesome. Excellent. So now that we have that out of the way, so you are listening to 2 accredited financial coaches, and not just one plus. You actually have 2 full ones, so that that gives us some credibility of what we're talking about today. But the real thing I want to talk to us about today is business ownership by way of franchising. And I've learned more and more about just what franchising means and how it is a viable option for people who want to become business owners. Because the 3 things or 4 things I want to talk to you about is the process. There's a playbook that people have, not people, but franchises have, and then sort of being sort of surprises and lessons learned that you have along the way. So let's start with the process, if that's okay with you, and kind of go high level and then dig into as time allows. That work?
Yep, perfect.
Awesome. So process. Let's talk a little bit about how you actually became one. So did you go through a franchise consultant, or did you just sort of start figuring out what kind of franchise you wanted and went directly to the franchisor?
So when I started looking for a new business, a new lifestyle, I don't know, it's going to be whatever years ago, I actually did a little homework. I did the franchise expos that they would do. I would call various franchises, figure out how it works, what the business plan, what the return's going to be, all those things. I did a lot of research.
Okay.
But I always enjoyed the wellness side. So I ended up with this one franchise, which is wellness, and they had their particular products and smoothies and that type of thing. And I loved it. I loved their product. That's what I liked. I was not only looking for a business, but I was looking for a product or a business that I would like myself. I think that's the first important thing, right? I'm not going to open up a mechanic store. I'm not a mechanic. Might be more money, might be more cash flow, but I don't know anything about mechanics. So I was trying to find something that I liked. I think that's really the first step. And then it is going out there and looking at all the franchise opportunities, because you have large franchises, you have small franchises, right? There's a lot of opportunity in franchising. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So I want to build on that for a quick second before we move on. So your starting point was, what do I actually want out of this business? Am I making, to your point, a lifestyle change? Am I trying to replace current income at the same level, if not more? Do I want a hands-on, hands-off approach? So kind of how the business itself is run, and maybe you ran across this in some of your research, and I want to dig into that a little bit. Did any of that come across your mind as to what I actually want the business itself to do for me and for my family?
Yeah, so for me, it was a long term. It was going to be a long term, multi store plan. Yes, you're right. People come in and say, you know what, I'm going to open up this one, I'm going to establish it, and then I'm going to sell it. So there's that part of the business too. But for me, it was a long term, 4 to 5 stores to make the average income that I was making back then. That's the way I looked at it also. There is the passion side of the product, but there is the business side also.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you can find the brand that puts those two together, I have a passion for it, but I also, it fits with what I'm trying to accomplish. And I think that makes the you that much more successful. So I do think that matters. So once you are matched with this wellness brand, but you have this big scary thing called a franchise disclosure document. And I don't want to go through all the sections. Talk to a little bit to our listeners about what are things like
Yeah.
fees or royalties that are really important for potential
Yeah.
franchisees to independently understand, apart from the consultant, apart from, the agent or what have you? What do they need to really take away from that document?
Well, the first thing is you are renting someone's name and their brand and maybe their products. It's not yours, right?
Hmm.
And you're going to be paying a fee up front and you're going to be paying a fee every month to have that brand and that logo and those products for you to be able to make money from. That is what a franchise is. You're renting, you're borrowing, you're not borrowing, you're renting someone's name and products uh, for you to make business. That long form you talked about, it definitely spells out what you can and cannot do. And the larger franchises, uh, they watch out for that. They want to make sure that, and I'm going to name a big one like McDonald's, which was really, I
Yeah.
think, the first franchise, right? They got the model, they built
Yeah.
it, and that's how it became. You want to make sure that your hamburger tastes the same in New York
Mhm.
or if you're coming to Florida. That's the important part of the brand, of the franchise, and that's why it's the same logo, the same store, the
Right.
same look. The company, which is the brand you're renting, wants to make sure that you're protecting the company, right?
Yes.
Your store is an extension of the larger company.
100%. 100%. In addition to that, when you're a franchisee, you really have to be okay with running what they're asking you to do and not deviating, not modifying, not, running rogue. Like you have to really be okay with taking direction, taking instruction from an already, that's why you become a franchisee. But I do think, and some of the people I talk to, that's where they get tripped up is I start wanting to do my own thing and kind of, change messaging and change the things. And that's not how a franchise is supposed to operate, right?
Agreed. And that's exactly it. You're going to follow their playbook. And if you don't follow their playbook, it's going to cost you money.
Mhm.
And they can, up to a point, say, okay, you're no longer part of the system. You're not longer going to have our name and our logo. They'll take you to court and all that. But you have to know what you're getting into and make sure you're clear of what they're expecting from you. I mean, even to the point that, there are franchises that, you're going to sell jewelry, right? And you're going to sell this jewelry. If you want to bring in this jewelry over here and you don't get permission for it, they can shut you down, right? You have to accept the product that the franchisor is offering. It can't be just because you like the logo and I'm going to go do my own thing. It doesn't work that way. It is a contract.
Yes. And it goes back to what you were saying, the consistency, which is why they have the playbook, is so that it is consistent across every franchisee and every, whether it's retail or service or digital, it doesn't matter. They want to ensure that every customer, whether to your point, if they go to one in Florida or one here in Texas, they have the exact same or like super duper close to the exact same experience from location to location, right? Which,
Yeah, and we're talking about a national franchise, but I know of franchises like local franchises, right? There's a restaurant over here, and they're a franchise. They're only in Orlando South,
oh,
but you go to any one of the restaurants, and it's The same plate, the same logo, the same everything, right? Because it's important to keep the brand.
Right.
You're helping build a brand.
Right. No, I think that's right. I think that's 100% right. So, kind of going on with that, we talked about the fees. We talked about, the disclosure document, which is lengthy. Like, did they advise you this sort of due diligence piece ish, but did they advise you to ever talk to other franchise owners of the same franchise? So those who were either like 6 months or a year ahead of you in the process, did they ever encourage you to talk to them?
Yes, they did. The franchisor, the company, they want to make sure that you know what you're getting into also. So they do provide references to go talk to the current franchisees or past franchisees so you learn about the product, what it takes, how it works, because they're just as concerned that you know what you're doing, right?
Sure.
You don't just pay the fee and you automatically become a franchise. You have to be accepted by the company or by that company in order to be a franchisee. Not just financially, by the way.
Oh,
You have to have enough the finances, but
yes.
they also do. I did 2 interviews where they met me and they wanted to know about my family and what the plan was, and they want to know who you are also
And
because they're taking a risk.
they are taking a risk. And are you good fit culturally? Just kind of like you would as an owner of a business and you're hiring somebody, right? Are you going to be a good fit, not just in your expertise and in your skill set, but are you good for our culture? And I guess the question I would have for you is, was there any point in the process where you either had pause, where you said, I'm not sure, is this a good decision? Or was it green lights for you the entire part of you're smiling. So I'm assuming there's a story there or something.
There's the story there, yeah,
Okay.
because it's coming back to me right now. As soon as you asked that
Okay.
question, it was me and my wife. We were going to do this, right? And it came down to the point where we couldn't both go to the training at the same time.
Okay.
So she went first. And that day at the airport, it was the moment between the two of us like, do we really want to do this? Is this really it? Right? There's a lot of work to get done. There are a lot of, and now we have to go learn about the products and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, yes, there was that moment of, am I doing the right thing? And by the way, you always go through that. That was the high point, right? That was the highest point where we really challenged each other
Okay.
to say to make sure. But even as you're opening, as you're building, you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this, right? But you got to keep your plan in mind and what your ultimate goal is. If your ultimate goal is, I'm going to open this and get rich quick, good luck,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
Okay.
it, you're still working for someone. You're working for the company, and the national ones,
Yes.
will come in and inspect everything you're doing, right? So there's a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but there's a lot of points that you have to hit in order to make the franchisor happy.
Happy. No, that makes sense. Again, if you are spending a lot of money to run this business, you want to make sure that you are doing the right thing. And so that's why they do have the trainings, right? That's why they do provide you with the resources so that you know that you are every point along the way, you're getting your answers, your questions answered, and you get the information that you need to make sure you're making the right decision for it. Because there is a point where there is a point of no return. Like once money has been exchanged and documents have been signed, there is no, oh, it's Tuesday and sorry, I feel weird about this now. I kind of thought about this on Sunday. No, once those documents are signed and or ground is broken, right, it really is a point of no return.
That's right. That's right. It's all true because again, it's you're working together, right? You're still working for a company, right? As opposed to opening up your own business. If you're opening up your own business, you're going to make your own rules,
Right.
and you can do whatever you want, whether it's illegal or whatever, blah blah blah. But with a franchise, you're going to follow the rules of the company. And the flexibility is what they give you, not what you want. That's why it's important to make sure you do your research, understand what you're getting into, read the contract. Uh, I'd be surprised how many people don't read contracts. And then they say, oh, but I didn't know. Yeah, but it was here.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
how many
So
times do we
read the
click
contract.
through those? I approve, I agree to whatever the terms. How many times do we click through those and we don't really read them? I will at least skim through it, like see, whether it's arbitration or mediation or I'll look for those things, or how do you cancel, kind of skim through a little bit, but we traditionally don't read those documents, so I can see how we get ourselves into trouble with
That's
that.
right. That's right. That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about the playbook. I assume it's a kind of a regulations and rules, like do's and don'ts, signage, and menus. What's in this playbook, and why is it important for franchisees?
So for me, I really enjoyed and loved the playbook because since I didn't want to create something new, uh, I was okay with them telling me, "Here's the product. This is what you have to sell. No, you can't sell this. This is the product that you use for your smoothie. This is the product that you use for this." I wanted that guidance. To me, it was guidance. To other people, it might seem, well, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do my own thing. A franchise is going to tell you how to do your business. I wanted that. Now, that's separate from having a business plan.
Yes,
Your your guidance on how to run your business is different than what your business plan is, right? No matter how you open up your business, which is franchise or independent, or you're going to buy someone else's business, you need to have your business plan. How are you going to make money? Do you have all your costs in there, your marketing, your products, your this and that? That's separate.
I appreciate the distinction between business plan and playbook, because that playbook is specific to them, right? The business plan is what you want, what the outcome you want to have from your actual business. The franchise is just the vehicle. The reason that you're doing it is for the business plan, and how those two really do come together. At least that's the distinction in my head. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, and the business plan is going to tell you how to make money. You have a product, a phone. How many phones do I need to sell to cover my costs to
Right,
make money,
right.
right? Because the phone, it's all about cost of goods. All, I shouldn't say all restaurants or all businesses, but business is based on cost of good. It costs you X amount of money to do this.
Right,
You need to sell it for X margin in order to cover your cost and make money,
right.
right? That's what business is.
So let's move on. So playbook. So the benefits, I think, for you, and I think this expands across most of people, is that playbook really gives you the confidence to run the business, and the comfort that you have the support, that you're not just sort of out here winging it on your own, which is a little bit more of a more intimidating proposition for independent owners. At least with the franchise playbook, it is. I would think it's constantly keeping with the times and what is working, what strategies they need to be implemented as they are getting more and more data. So I think those would be the benefits. You correct me if there's any other ones that I need to add to it, but that seems consistent.
No, I think you're hitting it right. It's a partnership. It's collaboration. You have a support system to make your business run profitable.
And that's what you're buying. I
It's
honestly,
up to you. It's up to you to run it, right? But
yes,
you have the guidebook there.
yes, no, I do think that's right. The execution piece is definitely where things could go more favorably or less favorably for people. Is how good are you at executing the plan that you have, and the guidance that you get. But I do think that's effectively what you're buying, right? Those are the two things. You're buying the right to use a known brand, right? Especially if you're talking the national level, when people that recognize, or even locally, to your point of the restaurant that you have there, you're buying the opportunity to buy a known brand and the support with which to run it, which I think are the two main differentiators. So let's move a little bit into the last two things, and I'll put them together. Any surprises that you had along the way? And tell me, let's do this first. How long did you own a franchise? I think you had two locations, right? Or just the one?
I had one and a half.
Okay.
So what I learned, I thought I was going to change the world, right? I said, oh no, I'm going to run my business. I know what I'm doing. I did not work the store full time.
Okay.
I would go in the morning, I would go for a little while, go to my full time job, and then come back in the afternoon.
Okay.
And that is my biggest lesson learned, that I didn't listen before I started, is you need to be there.
Okay.
You need to be there, because no matter, even if you hire the best general manager, right? And I had a pretty good general manager, but it's not his business, it's my business. So that's my biggest lesson learned there is I think you should be there at least the first couple months, the whole time. Um, and what I learned from that is exactly what I just said. It's my business. I'm hiring someone and they're getting paid for it, but it is just their job. For me, it was my life,
Right.
right? So there's a difference there, and that's just my story. It could be different for you, right?
Sure.
The other thing is I think just sum it down to know your products. If you're going to sell things, you have to know your products because your clients are very smart. If you have a product and they want to know the difference between A and B and C, well, you better have a good answer for them and be ready for conversations. You might feel you're being challenged, but know your product. Be ready for those conversations.
Yes, and be ready to make the recommendation, kind of to your point. Even if they aren't coming to you to challenge, but they're coming to you for guidance. Like today, I'm feeling, low energy and I'm a little bit sore because I had a pretty big workout yesterday. What would you recommend that, for recovery or for, inflammation, those kind of things? So back to know your product because they're coming to you with as some sort of expert or expertise.
And in this particular case, yes, you hire employees, but those employees, they're not going to know the product like you should know it, right? They're just there. This is going to sound horrible. They're just there to do a job. They're there to get their check. Some you have outstanding employees and you have your regular employees. The difference is that this is my business. It's not their
Right.
business, right? And that's why for me it was important and not lesson learned because I just didn't listen to be there at your job, especially, like a restaurant business. You have to be there. There's so much cash. There's so much material. There's so many goods. You have to keep an eye on all that. Not that everyone is maliciously doing something,
No.
but your waiter that's a nice person says, oh, I like this person. I'm going to give them whatever. I like this person. I'm going to give them whatever. That begins to add up
Yeah.
and it goes against your
Bottom line
profits.
goes against your bottom line. No, I think that makes sense. I do know that there are, and I think this also kind of goes back to one, you said you didn't listen, but I think this also goes back to when you're being matched with the brand that you want to operate, what's the actual demand and involvement that you as the owner have, right? Because if you're doing one of those vending machines that's technically a franchise, right? That's hands-on in the sense of you are operating it and you're changing out, the food and, when it goes when the inventory needs to be updated, but you're not there 24/7, right? Well, you're just there to make sure that all the inventory is up to date, everything works. So you have to decide and determine what your actual capability is, the capacity for time is. And you said you didn't listen, which I totally respect. But I do think that is part of the vetting, right? Of which brand makes the most sense to you. How involved do you need to slash want to be as a franchise owner?
Exactly. 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 Because that's my case. Like you just said, the vending machine is a different model, different
100%.
experience, right? So
Yes.
agreed.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So any surprises or any other lessons? Because we're getting ready to land this plane.
No, it's not a surprise, but you know how construction goes, right? They tell you it's going to be done in, I don't know, 6 weeks, and it's like this is missing or this part is this going to. That really tested my patience was the construction. And
Yes.
by the way, it's not like I was coming up with anything new. You're buying the already design and the logo is going to be delivered and this color and that. But the construction part of it, right? That was the tough part. That was the tough part for me.
I mean, it's just like building a house, right? Or
Yeah.
remodeling a house. Forget you're building a house, even
Remodeling a
remodeling a
house.
house,
Yes.
right? With your general
Yes.
contractors and all of the subcontractors you're
Yes.
working with and rainy days, right? Because you can't build when it's raining outside. And if you had it in Florida where it could just be a pop-up shower, you're working around a lot of different things as well. And so buffer
Yes.
definitely added, a month or two, maybe 3 months extra in whatever timeline you think it's going to be. Add a little bit of
Well,
buffer in your plan for that and do yourself a favor.
which, by the way, goes back to your business plan, right? because you expected something to get done 6 weeks, and here you are 12 weeks later,
Yeah.
you're not open yet, and you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
and I'm choking out money
Yeah.
already, right?
And none's coming back in right now. It's all an ATM machine, all going out. But I do think that is part of that, which I love the fact you brought that up because it's not just for independent owners of businesses who have
Yes.
to sort of plan for those delays, potential delays in revenue, but it is franchises as well because there is a ramping time until you are actually open. There's all these things that are
Yeah.
happening that you're not generating any money. So how do you still run your household? How do you actually fund it? How do you actually plan for that? And I think that's one of the things that I love about what I do here at Studio M, and it's a sort of a shameless plug for a moment, is that we do want to talk through that planning process. What are the resources you have available to make sure that your household is still stable and secure while you're building your business? If you don't have one, how much harder is that for you if you
That's
don't actually have a plan for that?
that's that's right. And even like you said, even if you do have a plan, the plan you're forecasting and projecting, just like in finance, it's the actual, right? Actual things happen, and then you course change as you have to.
Right.
But a plan is just a guide.
Any final thoughts before we sort of move into a quick little, me, I like to do kind of games and such, but any other thoughts about being a oh, tell me a little bit about, I know you aren't a franchise owner anymore. What were some of the circumstances that caused you to exit out of being a franchise owner? Did life change? Did the franchise just not work? What was the reasons for you exiting out of that?
So I'm going to be honest. My youngest daughter, she was like 4 or 5 years old, and we're a pretty tight family, and to have a full-time job and a business. This is, I don't know, 5, 6 months in. I was already opening up the second one. 'Cause the first one was doing well. Actually, no, I think it's more than a year. I was almost out of the red. The store was doing well and getting ready, already building on the second one. And my daughter comes, I come home one night and she was already asleep, but she came out and she just started to cry and telling me how she missed me and how I'm never home and how she missed this and missed that. And that's when I realized, you know what? This isn't for me. It really. I was up at 6 in the morning at the store by 7. Go to work and come back to the store till 11, 11:30 at night. Uh, and that 7 days a week. 7 days a week. Well, the full time job wasn't full 7 days a
Sure.
week, but on the weekends I would take my product and I would go out to sample, to give coupons out, to sell, whatever it is to get the word out.
Right.
So it was 7 days a week. And that was a turning point. That was a turning point. It's the second time it happened to me because the first time it happened to me is when I had a job offer someplace else in another state. And I thought, oh my God, this is great. I'm coming home and I'm flying over, I live in South Florida. And I'm flying over South Florida and I'm a big boater. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm going to leave all this
Mm.
just to go do that. And for me, my family, my lifestyle is very important. So that's what happened. I don't want to blame it on my daughter. I don't want to
No,
blame it
no,
on
no,
her at
no, no, no,
all.
no.
It's not blame.
No.
But I sold, I got out, and did I lose money? Yes, I lost a little bit of money, but it's okay. And like we talk about, for some reason, things happen for a reason where I'm working full time, an opportunity came up, and I grew from there. So it all worked out. It all worked out.
No, I think that's important. And I think that goes back to what we started at the very beginning is how do you decide which business type works best for you and for your family, for your situation, and things change, right? Yes, you have this long-term, multi-unit, excuse me, that's what you had going into it. That was your plan. But family dynamics change, family emotions change, family needs change as well. And do those needs align with where your business is?
Yeah, it still is. I mean, my daughter now is 20 years old, but I was a very involved dad.
Yeah.
I would go, they would play sports. I go to the games. We do this, we do that. And yes, I missed it. And yes, that first year and a half where I was doing this, I realized what I was doing. And I said, I'm going to keep doing this because of the goal, because of this. Uh, because of me.
Right.
But it wasn't until my little 5-year-old came out and, let her heart go. And I go, oh my God.
Okay. We're gonna do something different, Dad. We're gonna do something different. No, and I think it
Yeah.
worked out. And I think,
And it all worked out. It all worked out. I'm a much better place now, 20 some years later, than I would have been with my 4 or 5 little stores. So it happened for a reason.
yeah.
Happened for a reason.
And if
You know.
you aren't better off, you don't actually know that because you don't have your 4 locations and you don't have that. So you just have your lived experience and you can just say, I'm much better off doing this than I was then because I have nothing really to compare it to and I don't have any data. So
That's right.
I'm much better off as it is.
That-
I think that's right. And I may not have met you, so I will take full selfishness for it because we met because of AFC and you may not have been doing that if you still had your multi-unit plan. So I will
Yep.
be
Who
selfish.
knows? Maybe I would have had 20 stores by now. I don't know.
Maybe, but we wouldn't know each other, and I think I would miss you even without having
Oh,
met
thank you,
you. So,
Katrina. You're a beautiful.
so thank you for that. Okay, let's have a
Thank
little bit of fun really quickly, and we're gonna land this plane or dock this boat because you're a boater. So we're gonna work on docking this boat here. Is that right? Docking. So
you. That's right.
okay,
That's good. That's
we
good.
don't land boats, we dock them. Okay, so
That's
this
right.
is our money game, and this is Bert shares all the dirt, and so it's 5 questions here that you just answer as honestly as you can, and I think most of them are funny, so we're not like sharing deepest darkest secrets or where the bodies are actually buried, but we are sharing a little bit of dirt about Bert. So number one, and if you don't have an answer, you don't have an answer, I understand. Number one, what is the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
In Costa Rica, I actually had some type of ant that was very smoky and
Okay.
delicious. That was weird. We
Okay.
were hiking and our guide told us, "Hey, try this." He stuck a stick down there, and I took it, and that was weird.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You got to tell me. Tell me.
I've also been to China and Japan. I think it was Japan or China, one of the two, where on the street food that they sell,
Yes.
crickets and
Yes.
frogs, and it's really. But I didn't try any of that. I didn't try any of that.
Okay. So I've been to both Costa Rica and Japan. And so when I was in Costa Rica, our guide did not put a stick in the dirt and pull out a smoky ant. I would have remembered. I would have passed, but I would have remembered if that was an option. So what were you doing that you had access to? Were you on one of like the rainforest state tours or?
We were. You've been to Costa Rica, so Arenal, the volcano Arenal.
Yeah,
We were
yeah, yeah,
on a hike.
yeah.
Uh, it was just three of us. It was the guide and my wife and I,
Okay,
and we were on a little. I don't know if you want to call it a personal hike, but it wasn't like a group
sure.
thing. And we were on a nature thing, and this tree and this animal and that bird, and oh look, try this.
Okay. Well,
And I'm like, okay, I'll try it.
sure. I suppose it's a little bit of protein, I guess, and maybe
Yes, there's protein. They're very healthy for you, and it tasted pretty good. It was a smoky
ant.
taste. I still remember it. It was very good.
A little bit of what are they called?
It wasn't chicken. It didn't taste like chicken.
No, 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 no. I was gonna say like a chipotle chili meets
Yeah,
a
yeah,
exoskeleton insect.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And I do remember in Japan, I didn't actually eat any of the street food. And some of it was because we didn't come across a ton of it. Mostly like in the markets, open markets that you're in is where you'll see a lot of it.
Yes,
And we didn't go to a
yes,
ton of those. But you could definitely tell when you were getting close to like real, local, authentic. And I was like,
yeah.
I have a stomach for a lot of things. I don't know if I have the stomach for that just yet, but I can grow into that. Okay, so number two, what is a surprising fun fact about you that sounds made up?
Jesus.
That
Surprising
is not
fun
a fun
fact.
fact. That is a lovely savior, not a fun fact. Any contest you won, any skill that you have that like juggling or unicycle rider, what?
No, nothing like that. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I mean, well, on the business, on my professional side, I have to be the manager.
Uh-huh.
When people get to know me and they say, "Wait a minute, you're not this. You're a fun guy,"
You are a fun guy.
right? Uh, I think that's it. People when they see me one way and I'm really another way.
Okay. But I can understand
I
if it's
think that's it.
professional reasons. I can understand that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
I in second grade won a Dr. Seuss drawing contest and got to meet Herschel Walker at our local arboretum here in Dallas.
What?
Like one, like district wide one, not just for our school, but like district wide one. I can't draw a
Very
stick
cool.
man to save my life. Like if you saw any of my drawings, you would question how in the world did you, at the ripe old age of
Did you
7,
win?
how did you win?
I'm not an artist at
No,
all. No way. I can even draw a straight line.
no. I peaked at 7, and it's been downhill ever since the last 40 years. It's been real struggle,
That's a great
real
story.
struggle.
Herschel Walker. Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. I think my parents still have, my dad still has a picture at his house. I think it was on
Wow.
the mantle for many, many years. Just me and like, my ponytails and pigtails. Actually, at the time I was young, pigtails and sitting with Herschel Walker, very young Herschel Walker, right? Because he was kind of prime of his
Yeah.
career. And there's my dad and my brother and my mom, standing there with us with the picture taken. So,
That's cool.
yes, fun memories. Okay, number 3. Did you get in trouble in school for something ridiculous, Mr. Fun Guy?
So I never got caught. My brother's the one who always got caught.
I'm not surprised.
I'll leave it at that. That's my answer.
Okay. Okay. So when my brother and I were kids growing up, it's just the two of us siblings. And anytime mom and dad would ask who did fill in the blank something, broke something or spilled something or whatever, it was either I don't know, not me, or Harold. If things got really, really bad, it was some fictitious person named Harold. If they didn't buy I don't know, if they didn't buy not me, Harold did it. And
That's
that was our answer. It never got us anywhere. We still got in trouble because again, Harold did not exist.
yeah,
But those are
yeah.
answers. I don't know, not me or Harold.
That's good.
So
That's good.
number 4, have you cried at a movie that shouldn't make you cry?
I at a movie, I don't think so, but I've cried at concerts that I shouldn't have been crying.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it the song? Was it the artistry? Was it the people that you were with? What moved you so?
It just happened this past weekend. I don't know why that happens to me, but
Interesting.
it's just this feeling that comes over me, this joy of, and I'm rocking because I'm a rocker, right?
Okay.
And I'm rocking and I'm singing and everyone's jumping up and down, and I'm so happy. Why can't we be like this all the time?
Well,
You know,
I don't know how much we would get done.
my wife looks at me like, "What's wrong with you?"
Like just so happy. Just so happy. So you don't look very happy. I'm so joyful and happy.
Everyone's in good mood, and here I am crying.
I mean, I love music for that very reason. It moves you, it connects with you, it resonates like deep into your
Crying right
soul.
now.
I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. And then the last one. Have you met someone famous by accident?
Yes.
Do tell.
I'm getting chills right now. So I'm a boater. I grew up on the water every summer. We were poor, so we went to the beach every day. That was our going. So I've always been around the water. And one day I'm at the airport. I'm on a business trip. I'm getting ready to go somewhere. And lo and behold, right there at the counter was Jacques Cousteau. I don't know if you know who Jacques Cousteau is.
Yes.
All by himself with his wife and one of his kids. And I work in television, I work in the industry, and I've met all the people that you can think of, right? I don't want any names, but this guy, when I saw him, I froze. And when I went up to him just to say thank you, I got that gaga gaga ga. Yep, he was the one. He was the one.
Whoa, very cool. Even this is going to sound weird when I say it. I forget how much of a contemporary he actually is, right? Like
Yes,
he is a 20th century contemporary that is still
yes,
very relevant to our lives and to in a way that we
that's right.
should know. But in my head, it always feels like he is like 19th century, so like middle 1800s. But he's very much a contemporary.
Yeah.
For identity,
He,
very cool.
He was the one why I got into diving. I used to be an avid diver. I wanted to be a dive instructor, and I was working towards all that. Life got in the way or whatever. But Jacques Cousteau, he means a lot to me for everything that he's done in his conservation, educating, opening our eyes up of what's out there. Because before him, it wasn't there. He's the guy. He was the guy that I just went lost it. I lost it.
That's amazing. Love that. That was I didn't know I didn't really have anybody in mind, but I can tell you that that was not who I thought you were going to say. Love it. See, you're surprising me. Love it. Very,
Yeah,
very cool.
very good.
I don't have an answer for the do I? I didn't meet this person, but I was at the same restaurant as this person. And this was back, what's this, 2026? So early 2000s, so somewhere call it 2005 to 2007, somewhere in there, when The Bachelor was more popular and frankly better
Yeah.
in his first early years. But there was a contestant, it was The Bachelor, and he was kind of one of the ones I think was the first one who didn't choose anybody at the end of his
Mm,
season. He had two women and didn't choose either of them. That was kind of a big kerfuffle. And this is when I was living in Nashville, and a friend of mine and I went down to go. She was an accountant and she was doing some sort of accounting conference or something. I just went because it was Austin, and being a Texas person, I'd spent some time in Austin. I just want to go explore. But he happened to be at the restaurant that we were at that night. And I just remember thinking, he is way hotter in person than he is on the TV, and he's pretty hot on television, but he is like even better in person. I was like, Alice, Alice, Alice. I was just like, oh my gosh, he's very handsome. So I didn't actually meet him because there was no way that I was even going to get two syllables out. And I'm sure he gets approached by people all the time. So I didn't want to be that person. But that was the only one that
that's
I was like,
great.
oh my gosh.
That's great.
So when The Bachelor was popular and relevant. So there you go. I spilled some dirt
There
as
you go.
well. It's supposed to be all Bert's dirt, but I guess you got some Katrina mixed in there as well. So all the secrets, all the secrets.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bert. If there's any, I will tell our audience a couple of things. There is one reference, and I'll show it on the screen, but I'll at least tell you. It's called Franzi, and it's a really good franchise guide for first-time owners. And some of this was the basis for my conversation with Bert, knowing that Bert was a franchise owner, but it kind of helped guide me a little bit through it. It kind of guides you through the process and it helps you answer some questions. So I will put the link to get to Franzi. It won't, you have to kind of put your name and information in to actually get the guide, but I'll put that information in there at the bottom as well. And I will also, Bert, with your permission, share your information if you want financial coaching from Bert as well. I do highly recommend him as well. Financial coaching for whatever stage of life that you are in. If you're, 22-year-old, you have your first paycheck all the way to, you're 65, 67, and you're stepping into retirement and how you can prepare for that as well. So highly
That's
recommend
right.
Bert, good dude. And we align on a lot of things when it comes to personal finance and financial coaching as well. So I believe you're highly endorsing. I think you'll be in good hands. So I'll put Bert's information in there as well. See, but thank you, Bert. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always enjoy our conversation. I always learn a lot, and I always feel like we just have really just normal, easy conversations about topics, and we can mix personal finance and business.
You make it so comfortable and so easy. It's just having a
Yeah.
conversation. So I really appreciate you, Katrina, and congratulations on everything that's happening, and good luck.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for listening. I too truly, truly appreciate it. You could be listening to so many different people in your time. And I realize that time is something that we can't get back once it's spent. So I appreciate you all spending any sort of time talking to us. And if it's helpful, let us know. Subscribe to the channel at Studio M Financial on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. I'll put all the socials. You can link up to me and to Bert as well. But Thank you so very, very, very much. And with that, again, I'm Katrina from Studio M, financial coach to small business owners, with this episode of Morph Minutes. Have a great night. And until we meet, keep working on the change.
We at Studio M Financial appreciate you for taking time out of your day to listen to us. If you have any comments or questions related to today's content, please feel free to send those our way. The email address is letstalk@studiomfinancial.net, or you can connect with us on social media. If you would like to be notified of future podcasts, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Studio M Financial. As always, until we meet, keep working on the change.